From failing several drug tests and acting innocent about them, to making even the most chill fighter fume with anger, here are some of Jon Jones' most controversial moments revealed, starting with his failed drug test. Remember the time Jon Jones went through a routine drug screening, and to everyone's surprise, he failed. And what was the substance he tested positive for? Benzoylecgonine, the fancy term for the primary metabolite of cocaine. Yep, the dude had a little too much party powder in his system. But now, here's the thing. Benzoylecgonine wasn't actually banned out of competition by the World Anti-Doping Agency. That meant the Nevada State Athletic Commission couldn't stop him from stepping into the octagon for UFC 182 and gave him a free pass. But just when you thought it was all over, Jon Jones was tested a second time after that initial blunder. And guess what? The results came back negative. That means he passed the test, and the drug was nowhere to be found in his system. So, it turned out the guy had cleared himself of the illicit substances just in time for the fight. Talk about some serious timing. Of course, news travels fast, and it didn't take long for everyone and their grandma to find out about Jon's little mishap. The man had to face the music and decided to check himself into rehab. Well, sort of. Apparently, one night in rehab was enough for him. Oh, and let's not forget about the fines. Jon Jones got slapped with a cool $25,000 for violating the UFC's Athlete Code of Conduct. But hey, at least it wasn't as painful as a punch from one of his opponents. In a later interview, Jon tried to downplay the whole situation. He insisted he wasn't a cocaine addict or some frequent user of the stuff. Nah, he just made a dumb decision that caught him with his pants down, so to speak. Well, Jon, we've all made dumb decisions, but most of us don't involve illegal substances in ours, especially not twice. Failing drug tests seems to be a common theme with the fighter. Just a year after he tested positive for benzoylecgonine, Jones got hit with not one, but two banned substances in his system before his championship fight against Daniel Cormier at UFC 200. Yikes! The tests were crystal clear, confirming the violation in both samples collected from Jones. And just like that, he had to step back and wave goodbye to the fight. But hey, don't worry, they had a backup plan. Then came Anderson Silva, the substitute fighter, ready to save the day. Even though he'd failed the tests, Jones claimed he was innocent and blamed it all on a contaminated product. And what was the culprit? Cialis, the little blue pill of questionable reputation. According to Jon, USADA contaminated it. After his arbitration hearing, Jon was hit with a 1-year suspension. But here's the twist. They concluded that Jones hadn't intentionally taken any drugs. So suspended, but innocent. That's one way to keep us on our toes, Jon. Now, fast forward to August 22, 2017. This time, it happened after Jon's weigh-ins on July 28th. He tested positive for turinabol, an anabolic steroid. The sweet aroma of consistency, Jon. Or should I say, the stench of it. Of course, Jones claimed he had no idea how that steroid ended up in his system, but the evidence didn't lie. So, what's the punishment this time? The UFC gave him a 15-month suspension starting from September 18th, plus 3 months of community service. There was also potential for a 4-year suspension, but guess what? USADA felt generous and chopped off 30 months from the sentence, because Jon provided substantial assistance to them. Snitching to save your own skin, Jon. I see you. When Jon Jones finally made his grand return at UFC 232 in 2018, guess what happened? Yep, more result inconsistencies popped up, and Nevada wasn't having any of it. So they packed their bags, kissed Nevada goodbye, and moved the whole event to Los Angeles, just for Jon. Bet he felt like a real VIP that day. And what was the excuse this time? Oh, it was blamed on the long-term pulsing effect of the 2017 M3 metabolite. Oh yes, the pulsing effect, the magical phenomenon that conveniently explains any inconsistencies. But one thing Jones couldn't make any excuses for was his hit-and-run incident. This guy just can't resist making headlines even when he's not throwing punches. So, on April 27, 2015, the news dropped like a lead pipe that Jones was wanted in connection with a hit-and-run incident. Yikes! That's not the kind of hit he's known for in the MMA world. So apparently, Jones ran a red light and crashed his rental car into not one, but 2 unsuspecting vehicles. And what did he do next? Well, he channeled his inner Flash and bolted out of there. But things got even crazier. He actually made a quick pit stop back at the wreckage to grab some cash from his car. I guess running away requires some on-the-go cash, right? Inside the vehicle, they discovered a little pipe accompanied by the distinct aroma of marijuana. Did you really think you could stash your secret stash in a rental car and get away with it? Especially when they also found some papers that conveniently identified him as the driver. Smooth move. To make matters worse, John had injured someone during this crazy escapade and then decided to hightail it out of there. That's a felony right there, everyone. And as the saying goes, every action has its consequence, so he eventually turned himself in. In a surprising twist, John took to the public stage and offered a heartfelt apology to all his fans. He admitted he had some serious soul-searching to do, and boy was he right about that. But here's the thing, even with this chaotic incident hanging over his head, there was still a pending UFC fight left on his contract. I guess the show must go on, even if it's a show filled with legal troubles. But the UFC couldn't just let the drama slide. Oh no, they came down hard on John. They stripped him of his title, booted him out of the rankings, and slapped him with a suspension. Sorry, John, but you can't hit and run both in and out of the octagon. In the end, John pleaded guilty to his actions and was placed under 18 months of supervised probation. Not only does he do illegal stuff outside the ring, but even does that inside. And his loss against Matt Hamill is proof. Hamill is the only person who can actually say they defeated Jones. But let's just say it's a victory shrouded in controversy. The showdown between these two went down at the Ultimate Fighter Heavyweights finale. Now let me set the stage for you. At first, it really seemed like Jones was dominating the match. But then things took a turn when he got a little too overconfident. Our man Jones decided to throw some 12-6 elbow strikes at Hamill, which apparently is a big no-no in the world of MMA. Who knew, right? The referee had to intervene and give him a stern warning, but Jones didn't back down. Nope, he just kept on throwing those illegal elbows like they were going out of style. Well, as you can imagine, that didn't sit well with the referee, and he had no choice but to disqualify Jones. Yep, the victory slipped right through his fingers. It's worth mentioning that this disqualification is the only loss officially counted on Jones's record. Technically, he never got knocked out, submitted, or even lost by the judge's decision. Nope, it's all thanks to those illegal elbow strikes. That type of behavior can even make Daniel Cormier mad, and it did. Now, Cormier is a fan favorite, known for his light-hearted nature and for not taking rivalries too seriously. But it seems like even the most chill fighters can get caught up in some UFC drama. During a promotional event for UFC 178, when Cormier and Jones were facing off, things took a turn for the rowdy. Jones decided it was a good idea to press his forehead against Cormier's. Well, Cormier wasn't having any of that nonsense, so he went ahead and shoved Jones by the throat pretty hard. And let's just say things got crazy. Trainers and officials had to swoop in to restrain these two hot-headed fighters. The whole scuffle rubbed everyone the wrong way, especially the Nevada State Athletic Commission, who wanted to see the tape of the whole mess. Can't blame them for wanting a front-row seat to this impromptu brawl, right? And because of their little brawl, Jones was slapped with a hefty $50,000 fine and had to do some community service to make amends. Well, maybe he should have thought twice about initiating, right? But wait, there's more to this story. During the disciplinary hearing, Jones claimed that because of the brawl, he suffered a significant monetary loss, saying he lost a six-figure endorsement deal with Nike. Now that's gotta hurt the wallet. But here's the thing, Jones later admitted that he had been pulling our leg. Yep, he straight up confessed that he made up the whole Nike endorsement deal thing. From even making the most chill fighter extremely angry, to failing his drug tests, while never admitting to taking any, these were some of Jon Jones's most controversial moments.